Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Seeing Nze Remy Ilona in body hogs with huge biceps. Would you know he's a Levite? Well, that's what I am. I can't deny my heritage, but the Levite can also have huge biceps and wear body hogs. We are about to have an interesting conversation, and it is about the Igbo people or the Hebrew people knowing who they are, and the anti-Semites also knowing who they are. And we are going to get into this discussion by getting into linguistics. The Hausa, the Hausa people in Nigeria, they occupy the northern fringes of Nigeria bordering the desert. Before the Fulanis took over their kingdoms and rebranded them Fulani Emirates, they had the Hausa kingdoms, the Habe kingdoms. Their language and the Yoruba language was compared, was studied by experts. And the findings are that these two languages separated 1,000 years ago. The Hausa and the Yoruba languages separated 1,000 years ago. Experts looked at the Igbo and the Bini language. Of course, you know me, so you may know who the Igbos are. They are the Israelites of Nigeria. The Bini live to the west of them. The Bini separate them from the Yorubas. Their languages were compared. And the findings were that both languages separated 3,000 to 5,000 years ago. Then the Igbo and the Yoruba languages, they separated 6,000 years ago. In the latest study where I read this, the most prominent Yoruba historian in the United States of America contributed articles. So he's aware of this. And I'm sure he's aware of studies that use languages to look at correlations and relations of people. I will repeat what I said. The Hausa and the Yoruba languages separated only 1,000 years ago. The Bini and the Igbo languages separated 3 to 5,000 years ago. The Igbo and the Yoruba languages separated 6,000 years ago. If we are listening, we would get something clear. The only separation that occurred in historical times is the Yoruba and the Hausa languages. And what does this tell us? The Hausas tell us in oral traditions. Part of their oral traditions are that the Yoruba people are part of the Hausa people. We all studied history in Nigeria. The Hausas had 14 kingdoms. Hausa Bokwe. Then they had Banza Bokwe. The Yorubas were one of the Banza Bokwe. But unfortunately, people play politics with history, so people don't look at this. People ignore things like this, and instead of studying them critically to see how they could be used to improve society, they bring in politics, they bring in Afrocentrism, they bring in supremacism. That's why somebody like the Oni of Ife will ignore history like this and be looking at the Igbos, who wouldn't have known that there are Yoruba people around their country if their country had not been amalgamated. The Yorubas and the Igbos had connections 6,000 years ago. We would get to that. Unfortunately, politics influences scholarship, and people insist that legends and myths would not be investigated. However, we will trudge on for posterity. Those of us that believe that history is not just there for entertainment, but to guide us into the future, we will continue to walk in spite of all the odds. Also, there's a case to be made for some Yoruba scholars I'm now getting to why the Yoruba language and the Igbo language separated 6,000 years ago. Some Yoruba scholars have come up with the thesis that the Yorubas, they call themselves Yorubal there, people of Baal. We are some of those ancient Canaanites that lived side by side with the Hebrews in the Levant in the Middle East. And I'm indicating that this is why you find some Igbo and some Yoruba words that are similar. Both peoples were neighbors in the Middle East. Just like the Igbos, as Hebrews, we are neighbors of the ancient Egyptians. As part and parcel of Judea, we are neighbors of Pilate. As part and parcel of some Spanish people in Ferdinand, Spain, we are neighbors to some modern day Spaniards. Some Sephardi Jews became Igbos. But to recap on the Yoruba question, some Yoruba scholars have said that the Yorubas, they call them Yoruba there, we are among the ancient Canaanite people that lived side by side with the Hebrews. By the way, if you want to pronounce Hebrew in the contemporary language of the Igbos, you would say Igbo or Igbo. And then, no less a person than late General Shehu Yaradua. He was chief of staff to General Olusegun Obasanjo when Olusegun Obasanjo was Nigeria's head of state. He was Hausa Fulani. He said that the Yorubas and us, he meant the Hausa Fulanis, are blood brothers. I posted this in the early hours of the morning. I also shared it with some study mates of mine, among whom was a woman who could very well be an Igbo, whose family, for safety purposes, in ancient times, mixed, assimilated into a group, into the group that could be the Edomites, that are likely the Edomites. Enough has happened in the life of this lady to confirm to her and to confirm to me that she is a descendant of ancient Israelites. Because the tensions in her marriage tells us a story. The husband apparently is anti-Semitic towards her and towards the Igbos, and interestingly, towards the Jews. The other day, I said that Edom and Israel would find peace together. In Nigeria, some people on this channel did not like that because they referred to a prophecy where one of our holy prophets was saying that doom will befall Edom for rejoicing when Jerusalem was brought down. But remember, our prophets were not girls. Our prophets were prophesying, talking, telling us the consequences of what we are doing, giving us a chance to repent. If Edom repents of the sins it committed against Israel, God will have mercy. Remember, Jacob ran away to Ikunneya. You have an Igbo friend? Ask that your friend to tell you what Ikunne means, or read things fall apart. What Jacob did was exactly what Achebe wrote that Igbos do and what I did when I was growing up and what my children will do today. If Hebrews feel endangered, like Absalom felt endangered when he got rid of Adonijah, his brother, for raping his sister, what Hebrews did was run to their mother's homestead. When Okonkwo was in danger, when things fall apart, he ran to Ikwunneya. When the third son of the priest Ezolo was in danger for nearly killing the sacred python, the mother told him, go to Ikwunnege. When Jacob, my ancestor, ran to Ikwunneya, on his way back, he was informed that Edom was on the way. He was prepared for the worst. But what happened? Brother embraced brother. There was peace. Edom and Israel decided to drop their animosities. After all, they came out of the same womb. Humanity will be reconciled. There will be a time. There will be no wars again. There will be a time. There will be no wars again. As the ancient prophets of Israel told us. These treatises are extremely important. It is important for the Igbos to know that they are the Israelites, and for the Israelites, for those that hate the Israelites, to know why they hate the Israelites. They hate the Israelites purely because of anti-Semitism. This lady I referenced said over last week she had been thinking about why Nigerians felt it was odd for an Igbo to dress workers in his airline in supposedly Igbo dress. She said it all began to make sense to her after she read what I just wrote this morning. And I'm telling her again, because of who you are, that is why you bother to think beyond the surface level, and that was why the situation at your home front developed. But there's a way out. The way out is when the anti-Semite recognizes why he hates an innocent people, he may repent, he may recant, and become a normal person. On this note, I say Dalo, Shalom. I repeat, I'm the Levite who dresses in body hug. Thank you.